we're recording now. Hey guys, Pete Ramsey here.
With you, Pete, all right.
I'm going to go to speaker view. Hey guys, Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. Welcome to the HVAC Leadership Call. Your call as well. Come together and let's strategize and see what we can do as we prepare during this transitional time. We know that history has proven that what seems like the end of the world, at some point in the future, you look back and it wasn't that big of a deal, okay? It was just something we had to go through as the world changed around us, right? So that may be the case here, and it probably is, but in the meantime, there's a lot of uncertainty because we've never seen this type of a reaction at this level before. This is global. And like I mentioned before the recording, there's countries that are entirely shut down. Entirely quarantined. There's areas of the population in the United States and certainly Canada that are too, but crazy stuff. I saw this morning where Trump has extended the social distancing through the end of April. So this thing's gonna continue for a while. Is it affecting your business? Now, we are hearing everything from, man, we have just dried up, to, man, we can't keep up. Everything from, I can't get employees to come in, right? To, we've got plenty to do and we've got a backlog for our employees. So what challenges are you facing? And again, this is not a presentation, although I'm gonna hit some bullet points here. I really, really wanna ask everybody where you can, please contribute. Please let us know what you're seeing, and please let us know what you're doing to successfully handle some of these challenges, because the challenges, those of you who are leading and with difficulty, we apologize, but we want to learn from you, because we may be, sitting pretty right now, and it may be a totally different story by this time next week. We don't know. But we are seeing a few things. I want to talk about 3 different categories, 4 actually. Number 1 is you. Dennis did a fantastic job on leadership the other day, and we talked about the importance of being a leader to not just your family, but your business, to your employees, and to your customers. People are looking towards you, and a lot of times we don't see ourselves in the same way that our employees do, but they're looking to you for answers. They're looking to you for reassurance. Hey, boss, is this going to be okay? What do you see going on? Because they recognize the fact that you didn't get to the position and to the level that you are unless you know what the heck's going on, unless you know something that many people do not. So let's talk about employees first of all. Before we leave the leadership, how do you do that? We do it by being informed. We do it by joining peer groups. We do it by staying on top of cutting edge current events, what's happening, trends that are happening, government regulation. Have you seen where the bill was passed? In fact, let me see if I can go ahead and share this, because I think this is going to be important to mention up front, because we're going to be breaking this down tomorrow. This is the congress.gov website, and the little red letter on there is me. But this is called the HR 748, and this is the CARES Act. This is what's going to step in and hopefully provide relief to our employees, to us as business owners, and we need to break this down and understand what it means. And it's going to affect, everything going forward, basically. But you can see here, it was introduced, it passed the House, passed the Senate, they resolved all the differences, went to the president, got the signature, and it is now law. So we're going to see an opportunity to provide ourselves some relief. So hang in there for those of you who are struggling. But in the meantime, tune in tomorrow for the next live call, because we've got a very special guest. If you guys know who Gary Elix is, I do. I met him about 15 years ago, back when I was working for Linux. And let me tell you, having been a contractor for 10 years and, technician for many years prior to that, when I moved over to that side of the business, I quickly found out I brought a lot of value to that peer group. But boy, was I humbled when Gary came in. This guy's good, guys. We're talking top shelf, top level insights. And we really want to welcome him by supporting as much as we can. Bring your questions, but most importantly, look for some answers. We're going to break this entire thing down, the HR 748, and he's going to explain it, what it means to you. And so this is key. I want to get that out of the way. Now, so that's the leadership portion. That's you. Moving over to employees, I'm going to mention some of the observations that Dennis and I have made so far based on our conversations, some of the inner circle group, the mastermind group that participates with us. You guys are well aware of this, and as are the ICE group. So employees, we talked about the importance of leadership. Your main role when it comes to your employees is reassurance. I had a customer called me yesterday. Actually, he messaged me. He said, hey, I've got a customer that is putting himself on self-employment. Even though I've got work for him, he won't come in. And I'm thinking, well, how do you do that? So, this has never been done before. You can't draw unemployment unless you've been laid off, right? Well, we're seeing stuff that we've never seen before. So part of the reason that people are doing this is legitimate concerns, little ones at home. I don't want to go out in all these people's homes and bring something home to my family. I've got children. That's a legitimate concern if it's a valid situation, right? On the other end, we've got people that say, man, government's going to pay me to sit at home. I'm sitting at home. So how do we tell the difference? And how does that affect you as a business owner? And what are you going to do about it? I mean, are you going to sit back and just kind of let things happen? Or are we going to try to shape our environment as best we can with what we have? So let's talk about that a little bit. Good communication. We need to be staying on top of or staying in touch with our employees all the time. If you have people sitting at home, this platform, as you can see, is very helpful. I mean, you all can turn your microphones off and speak up right now or at any time, and so can they. You can lead them through a process where you take them out of the dark, out of the fear, and into the light, and into being informed. And as a leader, if you'll do that, you're really going to help everybody. You're going to help out your employees, and you're going to help out your own position. Part of what you want to communicate is, guys, we're going through this together. Many businesses are going to go out of business, but we have different plans. And here's how we plan on getting through this. Even if they do extend it for months to come, here's how we're going to be prepared. And start strategizing based on all the information we're getting ready to discuss. We want to update them regularly. One of the best ways to do is through continued training. If you've got people at home, let's train them. This is a good platform for training, right? So let's leverage the downtime. You should be doing your own training, right? Spending time looking through some of these documents that the government's put out, staying on top of the news, staying on top of peer groups. What are you seeing where the markets are trending, and what we can do to overcome that. So taking advantage of the online platforms. This is Zoom. Also, Google has one if you have a Gmail account. I think it's called meet.google. It's Google Meet or something like that. I've been on calls. I don't use that platform. I like this one, but I've been on calls with those, and it's free, right? You get a bunch of your team on there, and you can just basically have this group virtual classroom. All right. Wendell Long was on Friday.
Can I make a
Weldon Long
before we leave employees, Pete?
Yes, sir.
Just quick input on that with your employees. I think Pete covered it pretty well, but I said this a couple times last week, and I want to reiterate it again. This is a completely unique situation that we're in right now. I think we all agree with that. So it's very important that when you're going through this, you make your notes and you start to build those systems in place. So when it happens next time, and it will a year or 2 years from now, we're not scrambling again, going, oh geez, what do we do? We got out of this in May or June or whatever we do, and now we're all fine. When it happens again, can we recall those lessons and enact that new policy that we had to cover it next time? So when it will happen again, make sure we realize what's going on here and we make notes of that stuff. And I know I'm going to come across as the hard ass here, but I think there's a couple of people here that believe with me. Take that mental note of the employees that probably were just taking advantage of this and sitting around on their butt. Instead of, kind of manning the guns with you and defending the fortress. Make little notes of that. I don't know if many of you are thinking that way. That's kind of the way I think. Obviously, you can't run out and start saying anything, but if they're not supporting your business because of a reason other than being scared and they are just laying around their fanny, I just think that's worth taking a note of.
Great point, Dennis. Actually, you stole just a little bit of my thunder there. Continuing forward, no, that's fine. That's fine. You're hearing it from two different sources here. Weldon Long was on Friday, and he spoke to the way he did it. Now, he didn't come in with the stick, basically saying, you either get my back, or when times get tough and I have to cut back, I'm going to remember this. He kind of used the carrot. He just up front was reassuring, we've prepared for this financially. We're going to be fine. I'm going to bankroll this. We're going to make sure that you have a job, and basically he is setting a situation in which reciprocation is encouraged, right? I'm there for you. And so an appreciative person would be there for him back, as long as they don't see themselves in a dangerous situation, clearly. So what he did do was he took employee capacity. Who can he count on, and who can he expect to not be there because of their situation? He took this capacity and he's using that to calculate how much work can we actually fulfill? What can we handle? So we need to do something similar, right? Talk to our team. Where are you? Can we count on you? And, to what extent can we count on you? And communicate, listen, I'm here for you. I just want you to be back for me. I don't want you to do anything that's unsafe, but we're going to step up and we're going to take care of you. Along those lines, let's talk about what can we do to assure our employees that they are working in a safe environment. What tools can we put in place, like the masks, like the hand washing and sanitizing, if you can use that word, on your hands, and things of this nature that are going to protect your employees as they go into strangers' homes, as well as your customers. What can we do? What government regulation, what government groups have established parameters that we can go in and study and say, okay, this is what we need to adopt into our new process, and maybe even how can we exceed it a little? So that not only do can you tell your employees, hey, we're meeting the government recommendation on this, but we're going to exceed it. We're going to take it to another level. With us, you are going to take the least amount of risk possible. Something along those lines, right? So we've done that. We've kind of established all of these different things with our employees, and on some level, we need to be establishing some expectations. Now, before we leave that employee topic, let me open it up. Is there something else? What are you guys doing? Are you seeing something else that needs to be done? I know somebody's got something we haven't thought of yet. Please share.
Hey, Pete.
Kevin.
But we can talk about this later, but I actually downsized the business on purpose. Not the people yet, but the types of calls we're taking. The reason I did that is we are starting to run low on masks, or N95s. I say we got a week left. We have 100 N100 respirators, which we're going to start wearing, but we only have a number of filters maybe for another month. Gloves, and we always used gloves before. We're getting down to a critical level on that, and then booties. We're out of booties, so it's something that right now we can't control that. So.
No, that's a great observation. Yeah.
I don't know how to combat that. Yeah.
Okay. And excellent point. We're gonna move over to the business section in just a minute on what we need to do in these areas. I don't have a solution for that. I don't think any of us do, other than just wait. We are hearing through the news media that a number of manufacturers are dropping manufacturing certain products just to keep up with this. Things like these uniforms they're better than rain jackets. They're antibacterial, they're antiviral. There's things that you could do at the next level if you can get your hands on this. But there's going to be priorities set to medical organizations so that they can get those first. So there's a lot of unknowns. So what we're focused on right now is based on what we know, what is our current strategy that's flexible so that we can adjust going forward as we learn more, or we have more or less access to these supplies, these vital supplies, actually. So, no, your point's well taken, Kevin.
Hey, Mark, you just put something in the chat I like. They make reusable booties, disinfect between calls. What's the name of it?
I don't know the name of it. I can look it up real quick, but they're on Amazon. They're like $20. And I don't know, they're pretty heavy duty. I just wipe them in between.
Okay, I haven't heard of those before. Good. Yeah, cool. If you get the name of those and you throw them in the chat, that'd be cool.
I'll find it.
Thanks.
Yeah, and it seems like I heard that the virus is heat sensitive. If we put stuff in like a hot clothes dryer, I'm just thinking out loud. You see what I'm saying? So maybe we need to do some investigation on that, because some of this stuff is not disposable, right? Your uniforms and things like this. Are we going to take that extra step and cover it with something additional, or how do we handle that? So obviously, we need to refer to expert data before we start setting policy and saying this is the way we're going to handle this based on our gut feeling, because I think we all can learn from this, and there's a learning curve that has to be adjusted to. But yeah, thank you for that, Mark, and thank you for your input, Kevin, Dennis. So anybody else, what are you doing employee-wise? What are you seeing? People not wanting to come into work, people who do come into work, people who are afraid, they don't want to interact with your customers. We're going to get to in a minute, but employee-wise, anybody else? Okay.
Hey, Pete, I don't have a problem with my employees coming to work, but I will say this, that there's opportunities out there for your employees through your vendors to keep them busy in training. So vendors offer training on the product that you're selling, whether it's Train, Ream. They have interactive workshops over the internet that you could actually have your technicians doing in the time that you're down, or yourself for that matter, because obviously the inverter technology's out. You could be having them taking courses with the vendors to making sure they're up to speed on this equipment, because that's where the technology is going. That would be something I would be doing as things, slow down.
Hey, Darren, are you seeing any of that training virtually for those who don't want to sit in the classroom?
Yeah, absolutely. It's as far as we are, because we're a Ream dealer, they have Ream Academy, and you can go in the Ream Academy and pretty much go through video after video. And I know Train has it under, and Ingersoll Rand, they have interactive where you can go right on their website and go right to, if you're a dealer for them, you get a login and just log in. And I'm sure Lennox has it too, underneath theirs. Most of the major manufacturers do.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I saw the link over there. Guys, watch your chat group over there. There's a link over there that you might want to lift and check out for those booties. Mark mentions using duct foggers to disinfect your, we had that as well. We bought that Hippo 2000 way back in the day, and it's got the fogger, and you literally would disinfect all the duct work. What's it going to do for viruses? Don't know, but hey, it doesn't hurt. Good point, Mark. Duct fogging your employees' vehicles so to keep that as clean as possible. Michelle, I'm going to try surfactant. Did I pronounce that right? Soap damages bilipid exterior and destroys virus. Best means of protection is good soaping practices. Thank you. Dish soap. Okay, thank you. All right, good comments, great comments. Anything else with employees? So we're going to compile this and continue to learn and add to this, because there's more discoveries waiting on us. We know this. My concern on this is I'm seeing people who were barely making it, because we're coming through the long end of the year, and we've got spring and summer waiting on us, which is usually our make it up time. And they're worried about trying to make it up, and are they going to make it through? And so we also know that the well-prepared organizations that will be around are going to be there to scoop your customers up should you not make it. Make sure you make it. You do what you got to do. This is get tough time for some people more than others. They have to roll those sleeves back up and get back out in the field if you haven't done that in a while, or get you a good helper to do it with you, whatever your team looks like. So if there's no more current, we can always come back to employees. Let's move on to your customers. Generally, we have a marketing message that focuses on the exterior. There's three types of marketing out there. We alluded to that on the promotional video. There's external marketing. Hey, I do heating and air repairs, installation, what have you. There's internal marketing. This is when you speak to your customers' concerns, to their apprehensions, to their pains. You know, what we would have discussed prior to this might be, you know, I'm concerned I don't want employees on the work release program or drug addicts or they're going to come case my house and rob me later type employees. That's why I want to do business with a company that has background checks, drug tests, or things like this. Maybe that would be a concern that you could address in the marketing before this. But right now, even though that's probably still valid, right now, maybe those concerns are, I don't know if I want to have somebody in my house right now because I don't want to get pick something up that, you know, from some guy, you know, mechanic coming in my house or what have you. But what if your marketing addresses this? It can be directly or can certainly be subconsciously with your imaging, with properly attired technicians, maybe a statement that meeting and exceeding all government standards for safe in-home service, something like this. We need to be factoring this in as we move forward smarter. Okay, so we've got the external, that's got to be blended in. They need to see an air conditioner or a furnace or repair or what have you. Then we need to address that internal. And then maybe add that philosophical. That's the third leg of the advertising stool. External, what you do. Internal, your customers' fears, concerns, pains. And then philosophical, because life is just too short for right? This is your philosophical. And so we need to be experimenting with some different concept on that, testing them, see what's working, see what's bringing people's apprehensions down. And as we adjust these, we move forward. We probably need to be communicating these new preventive measures that our company's doing. We can do that through newsletters. We can do it through your email marketing campaign. Heck, if you don't have their emails, maybe we need to go direct mail, right? But we do know that when times get tough, we contractors love to advertise and throw our money at people that don't know us at all in hopes that they're going to start calling us. When our best opportunities lie with the persons most likely to buy from you, and those are the ones that already have. And I know a host of people on this call are already doing this. They're getting on the phone, they're calling all their customers, and they're letting them know, here's what we're doing to keep you safe. Here's what we're doing to provide continuous service regardless of what's going on in the world. Here are the steps that we're making. And you may set up some creative strategies where you don't interact directly with the customer. If you've got a package unit, residential package unit, that's really easy. But you see what I'm saying? There's some different things to consider there as we are doing this. Sam Wakefield did a little piece on virtual sales. How's that going to work for us? To what extent can we lean on this? We know we can't virtually do service calls, but what virtually can we do to interact with our customer, just like this right here? In the future, maybe we can put on webinars, educational webinars. What are some of the things that we can do to communicate with our customers and allow them to know what we're doing, the steps that we're making?
Hey, Pete.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Before you, are you moving on from marketing? Because I wanted to comment on a couple of things on marketing before you move on.
I was just going to mention 2 or 3 more things. You want to see if I?
No, I just want us to, but don't move on before we talk about marketing.
Okay.
You
Okay.
go.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So communicating our new preventive measures. We want to use informative marketing, not, hey, just buy my stuff. We want to bring value to the interaction. And if we do this consistently, they will look forward to your next communication, albeit email, phone call, what have you. But we need to bring value. Educational marketing. We need to stay relevant with our marketing. And we need to be constantly monitoring consumer buying patterns. Closing ratio goes down, cancellations go up. Let's look at those new numbers and adjust our marketing budgets based on that, or marketing efforts based on that. So if we used to have a 60% closing ratio, went out on 10 jobs and got 6 of them, and suddenly we're down to 40 because of this, there's a couple of things that we can do. We can increase our process and improve our process to help close more of those, but we also can increase the number of estimates we're actually going on by increasing our marketing campaigns. That's what I had on customers. Dennis, what did you have?
Well, I wanted to just expand a little bit on what you just said about marketing, Pete, because you made a spectacular point there. And what Pete was talking about, informational or educational marketing, because a lot of times when we're marketing to our homeowners, we're always marketing with, say, incentive offers, buy one, just buy now when you get this discount here. But the informational, educational offers are really huge. And I'll tell you why. Because right now, people are sitting in their houses, Googling and searching and educating themselves on everything. And what those educational offers do, if you're providing that to them, is that's going to give you a connection with that homeowner. So a couple months from now, when they're ready to buy, they have that connection with you. And they trust you because you've given them this really good information. One of the first things I do with my clients is I create those informational offers that they can give away on their websites. Now, we do it to collect emails from the customer so then we can follow up with them. But I was looking at some of my contractors that have those set up, and we set them up, way in the past. But anyways, we're getting about 5 times more activity to people downloading that informational offer now than we were just a month ago. So people are looking at that stuff and they're gathering that information. So if you don't have any informational stuff set up to give them, you really need to research that or reach out and find out how to do that stuff, because it's coming pretty big right now. A lot of people are trying to get that education while they're sitting around their house doing this. So that was a great point you made with the educational offers, Pete.
Awesome, Dennis. Thank you for adding to that as well. So any more questions on or statements or observations on what you're seeing with your customers? Anything noteworthy that we can add to this? Please, you guys are out there. What are you seeing?
You didn't talk. There we go.
Chad, what you got?
Well, good to see everybody, by the way. Hopefully everybody's rocking and rolling. We've definitely cut back hours at the office. We're just going in for a few hours in the morning, processing paperwork, doing hours and stuff like that for the employees for the day. And then we go home. We're still running calls. We're not getting a full day necessarily, but the calls are still coming in. There's still work being done. There for the longest time, construction was really popping up around here. Empty lots were even selling up until the coronavirus hit. And then it seems like it's dropped off considerably. So new construction is even backed off, which is a little scary. We haven't really seen that because of a sickness or a virus of any type before. So it's all unprecedented. This, however, is going to set a precedence now. What's going to happen next time something pops up? Are people going to be more reactive or proactive? Some thoughts, maybe some questions other people can ask.
Thanks, Chad. And that's a great segue over into the business side of it and strategizing. So what do? You maybe you do need to cut non-essential hours. Maybe you do need to cut any non-essential costs. But we got to be careful knowing what to cut and what to not cut, maybe what to actually invest more in. So we look at these two sides. There's money coming in, there's money coming out. Let's look at that overhead. Let's look at those costs. We've got to meet overhead going forward, if nothing else. We want to profit, but not at the expense of the safety of our employees or customers, not at the expense of damaging our reputation through crazy marketing efforts, making claims that we shouldn't. Not at any of these expenses that are going to hurt us, but we've got to meet that overhead. Dennis, I'm going to call you out on this one. If you guys are to the point where you can't make a payment, Dennis made a comment the other day, don't you dare go silent. You actually proactively reach out to these people that they're expecting payment from you, and you have this conversation. How did you word that, Dennis? Please.
You mean well, basically, it's just a report I read online where somebody posted it, that if you're reaching out to, say, like a bank loan or any credit card loan or anything like that, make sure to mention you're calling them because you need some help because of COVID-19 or coronavirus. Because they have a different protocol set up to follow, where if you just call in and you ask for help, they're going to have this protocol. They will not prompt you to do anything until you say COVID-19. Then it's a completely different protocol to give you leeway. And I think that's coming from the government. So always mention that stuff. Don't kind of be prideful and just say you can't do it. Always mention it's because. And then if you're referring to, I thought it was really interesting because Pete and I had that talk last week. I mentioned if you owe your vendors money, the worst thing you could do is go silent. I remember Weldon Long on Friday said that's exactly what he did. He went silent because every day he didn't talk to the equipment suppliers. Another day he had. The quicker you get on the line with them and the quicker you start telling them what the situation is, they're a better negotiating position they're going to be in and you're going to be in. So don't go silent. Take every single call. Return the calls if you're in that type of a situation. And again, vendors aren't in business to run you out of business. They want to work with you instead of build a whole bunch of new customers up after the fact. So they're willing to work you along as far as they can. I have one client of mine who was frankly doing a little hiding from his vendor, and I talked to him in this same conversation, and he called them up, and they extended him out almost a year on what he owes, just from one phone call. So take those options.
Thank you. Awesome, Dennis. So yeah, that stands to reason. I mean, listen, if you can't go in and take a position of firing a customer because he doesn't come to work right now, because government will be on your rear if they do. Yeah, I mean, it stands to reason that other industries would be flexible as well, because I mean, we have to understand this. I would rather have 10 customers that are trickling money in as opposed to what they owe than 10 customers to just go dark on me, wouldn't you? So it stands to reason. So let's look at our expenses and maybe proactively, before it gets to the point where we can't handle it, proactively reach out and see what we need to do to keep our overhead in check so that maybe our essential staff can cover that until things improve, what have you. And I think that's a great strategy there. Now, we do have some government assistances coming. Now, we've already announced that on the front end, the HR 748. We're going to see what that breaks down to in terms of what can we reach out for. It's kind of like unemployment. You pay into it. You know, if you're like me, I did unemployment one time. Man, it was a tough pride pill to swallow. But I had a mentor say, Pete, how many years have you paid into this? And you've never claimed unemployment. Go over there and, and take that return on that investment. So maybe this is your return on your investment, because we've all paid taxes into this thing. Gary mentioned to me on our offline conversation, he said, I'm taking advantage of it. I've paid into this big time for a number of years. I'm going to leverage every opportunity, every strategy that I possibly can to put my company in the best position possible. So cutting back on office staff is not essential. The government's going to make us, make our employees whole on a lot of this stuff and make us whole on some things as well. So let's figure out, what does that mean? We know, based on what we've studied with our employees, what our capacity is going to be, who's willing to work, who's not. We're seeing trends in the market. So now we can strategize what our customers are doing, what we have available, and put a plan together. And let's do some math and figure, how do we meet these numbers? Maybe we can even profit along the way. But most importantly, how do we get through this? It may be over in a couple of weeks. It may still be going in a couple of months. So let's play, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Let's play that long-term scenario for now, a strategy, and take a defensive posture. But by the same token, balance that up and be proactive and aggressive. Remember when you started your business, for those of you who started from nothing, I know I did out of the back of the family car, the family station wagon, because I didn't have the money to buy a van. I started during a very difficult economical time. But guys, you want motivation? Go look at that family waiting on you. Look at those mouths that need to be fed. This is back when we were out there hustling. We were making stuff happen. We didn't sit around and wait on it to get hot or cold. We were doing stuff. Maybe it's time to revisit that aggressive attitude as business owners. And if we have staff that are able to get on the phone, proactively follow a script that maybe you've prepared for your customers, maybe that's a better use of their time, and they can do it from their home, perhaps. I don't know. So what are some of the things that we can do?
Hey, Pete,
yes.
Question here. You've commented once last week, and you kind of mentioned it again today. I like that story that you told me during the recession of like the late 80s, when you had just started your business and you were just hungry and just out when everyone else is retracting, is when you built your business. I don't know if you're about to go over them right now, but if you're not, what exactly did you do besides just your mindset of being hungry to go out there and do this stuff?
Yeah, well, this was a different time. No, I was not going to go in that direction, but I'll touch on it briefly. So the end of the 80s, I had just changed jobs. I was the last hired service technician. I was pretty good tech, wasn't bad. And the several companies started to roll out layout. They started to lay people off. And it was a recession, and so there wasn't enough work. And so I was laid off. I had just had a newborn child, number 3. He was about a year old, and I had 2 little girls that really hadn't even started school yet. I think the oldest one may have been in kindergarten, and I couldn't cover my bills. So what I did do is I got on the phone. I called everybody I owed money to, my car payment, everybody, credit cards, everything. And I negotiated, and this was at the advice of a mentor, interest-only payments for now until we got through this. And I went in, and that was when I actually did the collecting on workers' compensation, right? For being laid off, and I'm drawing a blank now. And so, long story short, I did everything I could to provide the relief on my expenses, and then I got aggressive. So what was aggressive? I ran an ad in the local newspaper because we didn't have the internet back. Well, we did. We didn't have the internet quite yet. So there was no internet. I went to a print shop. I had flyers printed up. I went to the parking lot of the grocery stores, and I was putting them under windshield wiper blades. I went through strip malls and had a piece made up for preventive maintenance, to take care of your equipment, replace the filters, and keep everything. And fortunately, I also was proficient in commercial refrigeration. So I was stepping into convenience stores, and not only could I do their heating and air, I was doing their ice machines, their walk-in coolers, reach-in coolers and freezers, and just pretty much anything, anything that needed to be fixed, I was out there doing. I was taking business cards. I would put them on those card sections at the bowling alley. First week, I got a change out off of that, right? Just everything. I was letting everybody know. And it was just really just not sitting around waiting for stuff to happen. I just went out there and chased it. There's digital versions of that right now on social media. There's email marketing that we can leverage that's much more powerful. If you haven't done that, let's learn from this. What would be the best marketing that I could possibly do with my existing customer base? And why am I not prepared to do that right now? Therefore, what steps should I include going forward so that if we dip again, I am prepared next time? So we always learn during the toughest times. But that was it in a nutshell. Was that what you were referring to?
Basically, what I wanted you to just say is exactly what you did. Anything and everything.
Anything and everything. Amen to that.
If you've sat back because we were all busy over the last few years and says, I'm a residential guy, the last thing I want to do is mess with a business. Well, maybe you might want to dabble in that a little bit, or vice versa. So anything and everything.
Sorry about that. Phone calls tied into the computer. So anyway, so that kind of winds down where I'm at. I will say this: external marketing, advertising, internal marketing, what you're doing with your people. If you've got more time than money, focus on the internal. If you've got more money than time, let's focus on that external, or whatever makes sense. A good, healthy balance is going to be important. Diversify your marketing efforts. But Facebook advertising is still inexpensive. It's very targeted. But remember, people are most likely to buy from you if they already know you. So let's focus on that, those existing customers, the one that know you and already like you and already trust you, so that when you say, because they trust you, we've taken these measures, our people are doing these things, then hopefully they'll trust that and allow you to come out, if you're in a position to do so, and do some of these things. Let me refer over to the chat. Bob mentioned, make sure you're Google certified. What are all these other things that you should have done to keep yourself top of mind or more likely to be seen that you haven't done? Maybe now is the time to do these things. If you're not Google certified, maybe you should be. Let's see, Jeffco Supply has booties, got a phone number there. Guerrilla marketing at its finest. Thank you, Sam. And it was funny that you mentioned that. That's exactly the book that I had read that really changed everything. We advertise. Guerrilla Marketing was a book that was written by a gentleman whose name I forget now. There's been several versions of this. It's just really creative ways. There it is. Hang on to this minute. Say something so the camera swings.
Sorry. Is this the book you're talking about there?
That's the one.
Sit right next to my desk. Love it. It's the next one I'm digging into. And this was actually guerrilla marketing on the internet, so it's the updated one.
I saw that. So ours was guerrilla marketing. We just did all kind of crazy stuff just to get our name out there. Remember the little $20 bills that folded up? It was actually one half. It was the two ends joined in the middle, and on the flip side, it had some type of a coupon. On the business cards, we would put two names on there. One field person, one office person. So if they were calling one of your technicians, they could always ask for one of the office person because it was right on the card. On the flip side of the card, we had some kind of a discount. Door hangers, called it the 6-pack, where if we're working on this neighbor, each of the neighbors on either side got a door hanger, and the 3 across the street got a door hanger. Get those neighbors to talking back when social distancing wasn't the big deal. The point is, get creative. Let's share some ideas and everything else. What are you guys doing? What are you seeing? Please. Share. Go ahead, Kevin. Got to unmute first. No?
I'm working on it. Hey,
Okay.
I'm a mechanic, damn it. Okay, so hey, just a couple things. We always did a pretty decent business. I'd say about 20% of our business was with realtors, and it was a 3-way swing. Somebody wanted to buy a home, somebody wanted to sell a home and make a commission, and we needed a repair. So it never failed. Walkthroughs, systems were down, never failed. So I've got one of my guys out now, and he is going back to every real estate office that's open and dropping our cards and reminding them that, hey, for realtors, we're an immediate call. We have not seen any traction on that yet. It's too soon, because obviously the housing, I'm guessing the housing market slowed quite a bit. But I imagine that's some pretty good seeds to plant there. Now, is that the business we really want? No. But as you mentioned before, it's trickle-in business. We'll take it. The other thing we do, and you had said, you had talked about guerrilla marketing. I don't know if you can see this piece. All our proposals get put in a binder like this, and included in the binder is a $100 certificate, and it's kind of cool stuff. We had these printed up. We didn't expect this. Nobody did. We had these printed up about 6 months ago, just trying different things. We've actually had 3 hits, 4 weeks ago. So it was kind of at the beginning of this COVID thing. But, we're doing the same thing. We're trying to, ramp up marketing, a little guerrilla marketing, a little street savvy, whatever we can do.
And thank you for sharing that. Yeah, there's some great ideas out there. Get creative. Some things you can't do, but some things you can. I'll just give you a little insight here. If you do go into a quarantine situation, one of the things that in over here where we're at that just went through the sky roof, the ceiling, whatever the expression is, that went through the roof was deliveries. And so all of a sudden, this was considered essential, food being delivered and things like this. So maybe putting your marketing, synergizing your marketing efforts with people who are high exposure. If you're not, grocery stores and whatnot, or certainly are right now. So there's a host of different things that we can do. But the point is, we got to share ideas and we got to keep our eyes open, cut our costs, consider our inventory, watch the marketing trends, up our efforts on getting our name out there, and raise a value. Create that law of reciprocity through giving. Give good information, give good education, give good counsel to your customers, and watch that come back towards you. You can never go wrong by giving. If we've got any more comments, now would be the time. Dennis, Spidey senses are tingling. Somebody's wanting to say something, but they've been shy up until now. I think they're getting ready to speak up. Am I right?
If not, I have one other thing.
Bring it on, Kevin.
All right. So about a week ago, because of the shortage of some PPE stuff, we actually pulled the business back. And we have 4 areas that we are actually marketing heavily now for. Number 1, anybody with an infant, anybody that's over 75, anybody on critical life support, and first responders. And in fact, we also, it's on our Facebook page, it's out there where we can get it. Our first responders, we have totally zeroed out the service call, absolutely. And we've reduced their price for repairs. It's kind of given back, and it's also showing that, hey, we're out there. We have turned down some business. I'm trying to make my supply of PPE last long enough. And there's a good customer base, and it's a good thing to do, I think. These are some, like if you're 40 years old and your air is out, well, open a window. For a couple of days. So
I think that's an excellent point. We, just to add to that, we'd had a conversation, and Dennis provided us with some interesting statistics on social media marketing. He said that if you are an organization that contributes to charities, that if you somehow post that on your social media, those who see that are, I think it was 5 times more likely to do business with you. Is that what it was? 5 times more likely to do business with you as an HVAC contractor as opposed to somebody who did not give back. So if you're taking, and I'm just assuming a strategy like what Kevin is doing, and you're actually prioritizing these people in these situations publicly, hey, we're there for you. I think that people are going to perceive you in a different light, and maybe you are more likely to be called next time in spite of the fact that they don't qualify for these specific conditions. Great point, Kevin. Thank you. I appreciate that. Last chance. I'm going to make an announcement here. Any more comments?
I got one more comment there, Pete.
Yes, sir.
I've heard new construction brought up a couple times here today. I did talk to a guy I know at Richmond Homes, and basically what you're seeing in new construction is they're just suffering the same labor as you guys are. People don't want to go to work. It just affects them a lot more. So it's not like they're ramping back at this point. This is as of today. It's not like they're ramping back. It just looks like they're really slow because of that. I know I have one of my clients is a big new construction contractor, and he basically said, look, it's not like housing starts aren't coming in. It's just getting to a point where I can only get to a third of them because of work. So I wouldn't at this point be scared like that's all shutting down. You never know what's going to happen a month from now, but that's basically what's happening now with that.
Thank you.
Real quick. So the National Home Builders Association, that I just got an email today that is classified as essential. But one thing we're seeing in our market is with the municipalities closing down, getting inspections and stuff done is also slowing that down, because even in our replacement work, we're actually kind of self-inspecting. We're actually taking pictures and sending to our inspector because we have a relationship with him to get the process through.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Okay, cool. Now you accept the help if you need it. And we're talking about the government help. I'm gonna throw this up. This is tomorrow. This is Gary. Gary is he's iMarket Solutions, among other things. And so if you're worried, if you're concerned and you want answers to the questions, you know, how does this affect my business? How's it going to help my employees? Should I be laying people off? Don't go run laying off yet until you find out about this, because I think it does affect this. How long is this going to last? How does it help me, the owner? What if I'm a one-man operation? There's a ton of questions that this bill, now this law, is going to hopefully step up and provide some needed relief to some really hurting companies right now. And so please be on tomorrow's call if you can make it. I'll try to record this one. Sometimes things don't go well, but we'll try. Chad, you have a comment?
I was just going to state that we're going to start offering deferred payments to our customers, and make it up to 60 to 90 days deferred payments. That will help hopefully get us past this mess. And you'll find, I'm sure, that most of those customers will be willing to pay that can pay. So just an idea, throwing it out there for you guys.
That is a tremendous idea. And it actually reminds me, we missed that point. If you have customers that are reluctant, I don't want to spend money right now because we don't know what things, what awaits us. We don't know when we're going to get our 40 hours again. We don't know when I can go back to work. Maybe if you have the ability to do that, maybe following Chad's lead on this is a good idea for your company, or some variation of it. Great point. Well, that covers the highlights that we had on today's session. Again, it's a Monday. We didn't expect to have such a good turnout. Thank you guys for jumping in. And I think it just goes to show the need for this. Thank you, Dennis. This was Dennis's idea to pull this together and let us help each other. Thank you, gosh, all you guys, Chad, Darren, Kevin, Brian, all y'all that contributed, Sam, over Bob. Bob's usually more vocal. Michelle, Mark, Zeke's got his shoe covers comments in there. And Preston, if I missed you, I do apologize. There's a lot to remember here. I hope you understand. Oh, we got a new message at the bottom. Hang on, give me 1 second. Rick says thank you. Okay. And Brent, thanks. Thanks all you guys. Any more comments? If not, we'll wind this rascal down.
Yeah, just one quick comment.
Yes, sir.
Pete, when you and I were young guys, I think we went to see Gary together. I still utilize his material to this day. It was incredible then. It's still incredible. Gary Elks is an incredible trainer. He taught me a whole bunch. And I know that you benefited from him as well way back. That's all I want to say. I wouldn't miss him if anybody in the group.
Gary, what was that old commercial when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen? He's kind of like that to the rest of us. He really is a sharp guy. Even Weldon Long, he said, no offense to anybody on this group, this is one of the smartest guys in HVAC I've ever met. And I think we both second that one, don't we, Kevin? So with that, we're going to end the recording. Thank you for watching the recording. Thank you guys for supporting us and joining us. And hopefully you'll be on one of the live sessions in the future. Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. We'll see you on the next